We're talking about a basketball crime so heinous that they are disqualified from being the GOAT. Now, when we say basketball crime, what are we referring to? We're talking about a major blemish in a player's career that brings up doubts if they are truly deserving of the greatest of all time title. That's not to say that a perfect basketball career exists. Everyone has made mistakes. But just like there are different classifications of crimes, there are different levels of basketball crimes. For instance, everyone has missed a free throw or committed a turnover that cost them a playoff series. Everyone has shot poorly from the field in a big playoff game. I consider these performances as basketball misdemeanors, but there are some players that committed Class A felonies. We're going to bring up 4 players who are in the GOAT discussion that are guilty of this. So let's put on our judicial robes and you be the judge if these players should be guilty and sentenced to life without the GOAT title. Let's bring in the first player, Wilt Chamberlain. The crime in question occurred in 1968 in the Eastern Division Finals against the Boston Celtics. He had a 3-1 series lead, and Wilt wilted. No pun intended. Let's set the stage here. In Game 5, the game was close into the fourth quarter, when the Celtics blew the Sixers away on the road. They were outscored by 15 points in the fourth quarter, and they lost by 18. Then in Game 6, they lost again, despite Hal Greer having the game of his life. He scored his playoff career high of 40 points on 63% shooting. But Wilt was extremely inefficient. He went 6 of 21 from the field and 8 of 22 from the free throw line. The same player that averaged almost 60% from the field during the regular season couldn't make a basket. Now we get to Game 7. Wilt scored 14 points on 4 of 9 shooting. In the biggest game of the year, with their title hopes on the line, he shot a grand total of 1 time in the second half. What was his explanation for such a horrendous performance? He blamed his head coach, who apparently ordered him to not shoot. Are we buying this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? The Sixers were already without Billy Cunningham, who was injured. Then Hal Greer, Chet Walker, and Wally Jones combined to shoot 24 of 69 from the field. This is where the coach would plead for the greatest offensive asset to take over the game, instead of deferring to his teammates, who were ice cold. But his lack of aggressiveness cost him the game. The result was that he was a part of the first team to ever blow a 3-1 series lead. And this is the same team that won 68 games the previous year and won 8 games more than the Celtics. They were the better team, even without Billy Cunningham. But this bitter playoff defeat falls on the shoulders of Chamberlain. If this had been a one-time offense, maybe we would be more receptive to pardon him. But this is all part of a pattern of behavior. Wilt hardly ever shows up in big moments. He did something similar in the 1969 finals when he barely averaged over 10 points for the series. Then we have the time when he scored 22 points on 7 of 15 shooting in Game 7 of the 1962 Division Finals. This was the same year when he averaged nearly 40 shots a game. I'm sorry to say this, but this should disqualify him from being the GOAT. The next defendant is Kobe Bryant. The crime in question occurred in 2004, the NBA Finals against the Detroit Pistons. This particular offense is more of a conspiracy, but is worth diving into. The Lakers were heavy favorites to win the title, and with good reason. The duo of Shaq and Kobe won 3 straight titles from 2000 to 2002. Now they added Gary Payton and Karl Malone. Sure, they were past their prime, but let's be real, they were still much more talented than the Pistons. Despite all of this, they lost the series in 5 games. Kobe did not perform well in defeat. He averaged 22.6 points per game on 38% shooting, and he also shot 17% from the 3. As we previously mentioned, everyone has had a bad series, even in the finals. It happens. That's not why Kobe is present on the court today. The reason is that he has been accused of throwing the series because he wanted to win Finals MVP over Shaq. From the outside looking in, you remember being perplexed by what Kobe was doing on the court. The Pistons kept baiting him to take tough shots, and he took the bait every single time. He kept taking tough contested shots, and he kept missing. The Pistons kept giving Shaq single coverage, and he kept ignoring him. Why was he playing like this? Let's bring in two witnesses to the court today. First, let's bring Chauncey Billups to the stand. Check out what he said in the All the Smoke podcast.
At that time, Kobe had won Finals MVP. It's always been Shaq. We knew they had their little thing, and we really played into that. We really did. Like, we trapped Kobe. Kobe was really frustrated with us trapping him. We played Shaq man to man. Shaq getting 35 and 18, but we keeping him on the floor because we going at, you know what I'm saying? Like, our game plan was really good. It played into their psyche.
Now let's bring Kobe's former teammate, Kareem Rush, to the stands. Check out what he said in an interview with the Scoop B radio. Quote, the Pistons simply outplayed us. Carmelo was hurt in that series, and I think Kobe selfishly wanted MVP. I think we were favored by everybody to win the series, and at the time, Shaq had the first 3 Finals MVPs. So I think Kobe had the mindset, with that as the primary focus. But I think he was really itching to get that MVP, and we got caught off guard by a better team. End of quote. These are two people who noticed Kobe letting his personal ambitions get in the way. And also, this is not the first time that he has been accused of throwing a game. Remember in Game 7 of the 2006 first round series against the Phoenix Suns, when he only took 3 shots in the second half? Did he take himself out of the offense just to prove a point? That's what it seemed like. Of course, he has never confirmed any of this. But none of this was made up by the media. Even the players who were directly involved in the series felt like he was playing the 2004 Finals to win his first Finals MVP over his teammate. And it cost the Lakers a chance at winning the title. I believe that series is the biggest black mark of his career, and it should also disqualify him from being the GOAT. The next defendant, we have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The crime in question occurred in 2 different seasons, in 1975 and 1976. What exactly did he do that was so bad? In his final season with the Milwaukee Bucks, he failed to reach the playoffs. Should he be penalized for this? I say no. There have been many great players who have failed to reach the postseason while in their prime. Players such as LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, and Hakeem Olajuwon have all been guilty of this. But you know what none of those players have been guilty of? Failing to reach the playoffs 2 years in a row. And that's what Kareem did. Now, I dedicated a full video on this subject matter, and I went in full depth to explain the 2 seasons in question. I highly recommend that you watch the video, since there are a lot of great information that I was able to find. But here is a brief summary of the 1976 season, his first year with the Lakers. He became the first player to win the MVP while missing the playoffs. He played all 82 games, and the Lakers still had a losing record. His team wasn't very talented in his defense. However, neither was every other team in the Western Conference except for the Warriors. Is he the greatest player of all time, supposed to carry his team to the playoffs in the least competitive season of the past 50 years? I would say that's the bare minimum. But if you want the full context, watch the video and you could be the judge of this interesting debate. Our last defendant, we have LeBron James. The crime in question occurred in the 2010 playoffs against the Boston Celtics and the 2011 finals against the Dallas Mavericks. Let's present the evidence to the court. It first started in Game 5 of the 2010 semifinals. I bring this up not because he scored 15 points on 3 of 14 shooting. It's a little effort that he seemed to be playing with. He settled for jump shots. He looked disinterested on defense. In a crucial game of the series, it seemed like he didn't want to be there. He looked so different in the previous 4 games when he was attacking the rim relentlessly and delivering huge performances. That same intensity and energy, for some reason, were non-existent. This would also be the last game that he would play on Cleveland's home floor before leaving for Miami. If this was a one-time offense, then it wouldn't be such a big deal. But then he did it again the following year, in the finals of all places. It's not that he averaged 15.8 points per game on 44% shooting for the last 4 games of the series. is that he scored 8 points in Game 4. Is that he refused to shoot the ball, even when he had wide open looks. Is that he refused to drive to the rim with a 38-year-old Jason Kidd guarding him. Is that he took himself out of the game on the biggest stage of the NBA. Playing as detached and passive as LeBron did, with a finals game at stake, is very hard to defend. But then he had a 7-year stretch where he pulled out more than enough big-time performances to nearly erase that crime. The moment after the Miami Heat lost the finals in 2011, many people went as far as to say that he would never enter the GOAT conversation. He's not only back in the conversation, but some people believe he deserves that title. And I don't blame anyone for thinking that. But for me, the greatest player of all time for any sport should never be accused of giving up on a playoff game. They should never be the third leading scorer for their own team and let a role player average more points for the series. That's what Jason Terry was able to do. That's why I don't have LeBron James as the GOAT. But that's just me. Do you think he should be pardoned for those 2 seasons? And what about the other 3 players that we mentioned? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.